Hello, this is Edward James Tagg, and today I'm channeling Mother Mary, and today her talk is about finding a love relationship. So, this is my second week of channeling. Now, today is a bit unusual because I've been going to my storage boxes and I've been looking for fabric to make someone I know a skirt. And I've been moving lots of stuff around, and I've been doing some house tidying and sorting out my DVD collection. So I've been quite distracted, and I would have wanted to do this talk a lot earlier, but I know this is going to sound really, really funny, but part of the reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to understand the parameters by which I can still channel Mother Mary. So can I channel Mother Mary later in the afternoon, which is here in New Zealand, and can I channel her when I haven't eaten lunch or I'm a bit tired because I didn't sleep very well last night? So generally it's a very, very bad idea to channel higher angelic beings, or what do you want to call them, when you're tired or frazzled or because your energy is not at your peak. So, but anyway, that's what I'm doing, which under normal circumstances would be a little bit silly. But I do like to sometimes do that specifically to test the parameters of what is possible and what is not possible. So anyway, that said, I'm still going to talk with Mother Mary and bring her through today because she still has something to say. So the thing that's really, really important about these channelings, I say hello to Shri and everybody else who joins in, the thing that's really important is that none of it is dictated by me. None of it whatsoever, and that's hand on heart, total 100%, promise, dib, scouts on or whatever. It's not dictated by me. Ola, thank you, Shri. So, she has brought through very, very typical Mary topics. Now, what do I mean by a typical Mary topic? Well, you would expect her to talk to the general populace about family, about love, and the messages have been sort of overly simplistic, and that's not a judgment upon Mother Mary at all. It's just that when Mother Mary talks to the general population, she does bring through information that is healthy and good for everybody. It's not super advanced, so it can be simplistic. Anyway, so as you may well know, the way I choose, or no, I don't choose because Mother Mary does the choosing, but the way she tells me is, in this case, she said, what was it? I think it was, I gotta remember what it was now. Oh yes, it was the sixth group of books which is in my bedroom, and the third book along at approximately sort of 55%, and it's on page 221, so she gives me numbers. Now, I'm not allowed to read anything from this page because when I do, Facebook, I don't know if it's their AI or whatever, but they say part of this thing is quiet. Last week it felt 1 minute 53, and you can challenge it and you can say no, it's all me. But anyway, so I think accordingly I'm not allowed to read any single line, but all I can say is that Salman Rushdie, The Moor's Last Sigh, on page 221, and I'll close that book now and I'll put it away, but all that page is talking about someone who references their parents being happily in love, being married, and then they just say, I'd like that for myself one day. And the whole page is quite complicated. Now, when you read Salman Rushdie, he got very, very famous writing a book called, it really slips my mind, and he got a fatwa. Fatwa is when the Muslims get a little bit angry and they say, I'm going to put a death sentence on you. So they did that to Salman Rushdie's first book. I mean, it was the only first one that became famous, and it was called The Satanic Rites or The Satanic Ritual, something like that anyway. I forget. Anyway, long story short, I'm not recommending you read Salman Rushdie, and I'm not recommending that you not read him. But the interesting thing about Salman Rushdie is he is a sesquipedalianist, I think is the correct terminology. He would be classified as a sesquipedalianist. Sesquipedalian basically means a person who loves using lots of long, big words. So he's quite difficult to read. So on the first reading of the page, I kind of had a gist of what was going on, but I had to read it a second time. And that's the problem when I'm working with Mother Mary through these book techniques. The first time I read the page, I'll get a little tiny glimmer and I'll be in doubt. And then when I read it a second time, I go, oh, I missed that. I understand now. Now it makes perfect sense. So if you learn to communicate to your angels through me, and you learn this book technique, which I call precision clairvoyant bibliomancy, then I recommend don't just read the page once. Read it twice, at least. So anyway, long story short, Mother Mary wants to talk about love relationships. Now, I've talked about love for family members and people who have crossed over to the other side. So now she wants me to talk about actually a love relationship. And I think it's pretty clear from that book she's referencing, and she talked to me later on, because she does. She verbalizes. When I use the book is just a preamble. It's just a way in. So Mother Mary will say, yes, Edward, we know that you'd like to give a talk today, and we will give you a talk, and you know you'd like the topic. And if you go to, she said it verbally in my head, if you go to the third book and the sixth group at 55%, and then page 221, there'll be the answer. And then later on she said, yes, Edward, we would like you to help people in their love relationships. And so here we go. And like I say, I'm pushing the parameters of how I normally work, because a little bit tired. I'm still very, very positive. It's later on in the afternoon. I've been working with skirt making fabrics and DVD collections, and my dishes are not tidy, and I burnt my candle over here, so I'm ready to go. Now, as my friend noted, it's sometimes wise if I just keep my eyes closed and just keep talking and just keep it flowing, because if I stop, start, it kind of makes it difficult. So here we go. Let's see what happens. I always get an itchy nose and I fidget and everything when I do this, so apologies. I'll turn my heat pump off with that button thusly, and I will be ready. Okay. Please, dear God, bless me and bring through loving information from Mary. Thank you, God. Amen. Yes, so she's quite clear. She says, yes, indeed, Edward, we are here. Okay. Right. She said, yes, indeed, Edward, as you know, many people are missing out on the beautiful opportunity, or the opportunity for a beautiful relationship. Okay. So yes, indeed, Edward. I mean, she does a lot of this. Yes, indeed, Edward. This is Mother Mary, and then she kind of every time she goes into talking, she will start that way again. So I don't have to tell you everything, because I'll just be repeating the same repeat, if you get what I mean. So I don't always do that. So she said, what did she say? She said, oh yeah. Something to the words to the effect, yes, indeed, Edward. Relationships are very important. They are the zest of life, she says. Okay, let me go and. She said, yes, indeed, Edward, we are very concerned because many people are unnecessarily single when they could benefit from a beautiful relationship, and that basically that they're missing out. So she said, yes, indeed, Edward, many people are afraid, and they're, what did she say? She said, oh God, I lost it. Many people are afraid, and they have these criterias about the way in which they live that stops them from having. Can you just repeat that, please, Mary? So they have that people have preconceived notions of what it means to be in a relationship. So can you just say that again? She said, yes, indeed, Edward. They get information from friends and colleagues and from work or media or television that give them an inaccurate perception of what it really, truly likes to be in a relationship. And they form, she didn't say these exact words, but you're forming those opinions basically on these inaccurate perceptions of what they hear. Second nature from other people. Those weren't. I didn't. She didn't say all that, but I'm just relaying what she's talking about. Um, so yes, indeed, we want people to know that there is a beautiful love that is awaiting for every single person, or theoretically, so to speak. Okay. Please show more. Thank you. You said it. Yes, indeed, Edward. Love is golden. She said, yes, indeed, Edward. There is a beautiful love waiting for everybody. Okay. Yes, indeed, we understand a lot of people have misconceived notions based on fear, and this is basically what's stopping them. But yes, indeed, people can learn to have courage. They have a beautiful opportunity. And yes, indeed, as you well know, many people are stagnant in their karma and their growth, obviously because of this. Okay. And many people are holding themselves back on the growth of their emotional heart. And yes, Edward, and we are concerned about this. Sorry, there's some children just coming up the driveway, but I'm okay. Sometimes that'll cut me off. Okay, please show me more, thank you. She's finding it hard to bring the words through me because my brain's getting in the way, but she's basically saying is that, yes, indeed, Edward, people are caught up in very busy lives and they have these kind of notions about the busy nature of their lives, and it's blocking them because of the busy quality, particularly of modern life. She's kind of referring to the new modern living, social media or busyness or work or whatever, and this is blocking people and taking away their ability to have courage. Okay, please show me clearly again, thank you. And so, yes, indeed, Edward. If they only knew, and when she says if they only knew, she's meaning that if you could really just fully surrender into a beautiful, loving relationship and remove that busyness and that courage, that they would live gloriously. That well, I'm paraphrasing her intention. Okay, please show more. Thank you. Now, I was talking to a friend earlier about Tristan and Isolde. Isolde, it's a legend that is in Wagner, but she's referencing that and she's saying if people would read some of these stories about these beautiful love relationships, either in Shakespeare like Romeo and Juliet or Tristan or Isolde, some of these legendary love relationships, if you read these stories, and the reason she's telling us to read these stories is because today we get so busy and caught up with social media and life in general, and it becomes a form of blandness. But there are examples in our history of people who have had this deep, powerful love, like Tristan and Isolde or Romeo and Juliet, and some of them are either real or fictional. But for inspirational purposes, this golden opportunity or this deep love she's referencing is in some of these old stories. Just as I was talking to a friend yesterday about Tristan and Isolde. Tristan and Isolde basically were in love, but one was forced to marry the king when she didn't want to. I don't know the accurate story. And anyway, where they were buried together somehow. I don't know how they died tragically. But there were two trees that grew out of their graves or in the area, and these two trees, they grew so close that they twined like a spiral and they grew together. And I don't know much about the accuracy of all this, but this is just what I've heard. But she's referencing that. So when I talk too much, my vibration goes too scattered, and I've got to bring myself down again. So I'll just drink water. She said, yes, indeed, Edward. We know that you have also spoken to someone recently about the poem called The Flea by John Donne. And when people make reference to poetry that is very loving and enduring in this way, they can benefit from that also. But she's not necessarily talking about the importance of needing to do this, but just as an example, there's a deep love there that's inspiring that people can tap into necessarily. And the two things she's just saying is that people are generally missing out, and that also they stagnate their heart energy and their spiritual growth and their karma and everything when they miss out on this opportunity. So the soul of the I don't want to say that there's a collective soul of the planet, but everybody involved on planet Earth, those that are not in relationship. Some people would claim that they can spiritually grow faster on their own. I personally don't believe that. But Mother Mary's saying in general that these people are stagnating their heart energy and their karmic or spiritual growth when they do this. Hello, Nathan. Okay, just a minute. She's saying, yes, indeed, Edward, we'll pause and give you time to adjust because I need to change my vibration and I need to go more relaxed. And because she might bring in another topic on top of this, so I'll just see what she does. Now she's showing me an image of a woman laughing with a man, and they're in the field and there's daisies and they're just in joy. And now she's starting to talk about that joyful aspect being in a relationship. So now I'll see what she says. Yes, indeed, Edward. You know from your early experiences with spiritual enlightenment that joy is one of the main components of God, and you can get into God consciousness of what directly through joy, and this is one of the main components in the early stages of a love relationship. So she's talking about the benefits of literally having God consciousness when you're first in love and when you develop that early stages of the relationship when there's lots of joy. I'm not saying that people who have been married for 20 or 30 years don't have joy. Some do, some don't. But she's saying that this early romantic phase where there's lots of joy, that's akin to certain similarities to spiritual enlightenment or God consciousness in general. Yes, indeed, Edward, you understand very, very well now. We will show you more, so I'm just waiting for whatever images they're showing me. This is really funny. They're showing me a couple standing with a pocket knife carving their initials with a love heart, with an arrow through on a huge oak tree in a field, and it's just a solo huge oak tree in the middle of a huge field with grass. Now I'll see why she's showing me this. Yes, indeed, we want to talk to people about the nature of commitment. Let's see why she says this. She's saying, yes, indeed, we want people to understand that if they make a commitment, that they don't then enter into a state of fear, that if the relationship does not last for a lifetime, that they're going to miss out and experience loss. So what she's saying is that a lot of people don't commit in a relationship because they're scared of it ending, and they think that if they commit too much love, they'll actually forcefully be sabotaging or self-sabotaging that relationship by giving too much of their all. But she's saying no. She would recommend, or what she's showing me, is that you give all of your heart for the duration of that relationship, and you don't try and anticipate or predict or interpret, how long you've got. Because she's basically saying commit everything and live just for today, and don't worry about your future, and don't engender fear into the relationship and believe that if you give everything that you'll sabotage it or almost jinx it to fail. I don't know what you're talking about, Nathan. Is there a timer, and are you even breathing? Sorry, I don't understand, Nathan. When I'm talking to Mother Mary, I just go in. I won't read messages because I have to go in a different parallel dimension to do this. So I'm not doing my typical FB Live talk where I'm interacting so much, because then I'll just get lost and I won't have Mary anymore. So right, okay, just a minute. And she's saying, yes, indeed, Edward, this is Mary, we will finish there, because she's aware of this fact that, if I get distracted or if I get into my intellect, then I'll kind of lose. It's not that I lose Mary, but I get into a different format or a different way of being. And I'm a bit confused about what Nathan is asking me when she talks about a timer. And breathing. So I don't know, Nathan. Ask me again. Let's see what the other messages are saying. Hello, Emma. So that's generally what she's talking about. Let me just double check if she just wants to show me any more. So yes, indeed, Edward. We want to explain to people about the nature of fear and the nature of commitment, just as you have elucidated. So she's just agreeing that I explained it accurately. Okay, so she's stopped. When Mother Mary channels with me publicly recently, because this is my second week, she doesn't want me to go on like non-stop for half an hour. She wants to keep it short and sweet and simple, and I respect her for doing that, and I think it's really wise that she does that with me, because it kind of guarantees that I keep it pure. I don't bring my spiritual ego into it. I don't jump the gun and try and build it into some scenario that it's not. It's quite a good way that Mary works with me in this fashion, because it's not about ego, it's not about spinning a story, it's not about making it too complicated. It's not about me. It's not about what I want. It's just what she's bringing through, and it's simple, and it reaches everybody, and it's quite pure, and everybody can understand it. And I think you understand what I'm talking about. So that's that. I know I'm wearing camouflage today, and it's not what you would expect of a English gentleman channeling Mother Mary. That's just what I was doing today. I was in the workshop earlier. I didn't want to put on airs and graces, or shift from my normal life too much. This is just me being me. So there you go. So just to recap, what Mother Mary and her team, because she never says I, she always says the royal we, it's always a team. She is noticing that, where's my glasses? She is noticing that in large groups there are a lot of people that are sit at home, they watch social media or they watch, Netflix, and they're lonely, they're missing out, their heart is degenerating, or I don't want to say that in a negative way, but the heart is not expanding. They're not sharing their life with someone, and they're not taking benefit of the unconditional love of a shared experience, and so their karmic and emotional growth is also being stunted, or not. Shouldn't say stunted, but yes, they're not growing as fast as they could. And they're missing out on a golden opportunity. And she recommends poetry, John Donne or Shakespeare or Tristan or Isolde or some of the ancient legends. There's lots of beautiful, inspiring stories that can help people understand what it's like to be in love. And then don't necessarily listen to your girlfriends or your work colleagues or your friends or TV or media or anybody, because they will give you a very slanted version of what it's like to be in a relationship. If someone comes to you and said, "Oh, I had an argument with my husband last night. He wouldn't take out the trash. He's a real lazy so and so bleep bleep bleep," or whatever, you're getting a very very slanted version. And now there's a funny thing that in life and in general, and particularly this is very very true of relationships, is there's what they call the silent majority. The silent majority is like 90% of people who are married or in a relationship for long term. They're blissfully happy, but they don't, go shouting off from the rooftops and tell you that they're blissfully happy, because why do they not do that? It's because they don't want to bore people, they don't want to make other people feel jealous or inadequate. And so this is the weird thing about successful relationships, is that there's a silent majority. And even those ones that have crazy arguments, or even, almost criminal or abusive, sometimes they're only like that for like 1 or 2 hours in 30 years, and you only hear about that big drama, but the rest of the 30 years they're happy or loving or working through whatever they're working through. So there is a phenomena in relationships of this silent majority where you never actually get to hear how loving and how happy people actually are, because it just doesn't make the news. It's not newsworthy. That's the biggest problem about sensationalism of news. We just get a very extreme slanted version. So anyway, I think I've said enough, and I think everybody understands what I'm talking about. So bless you all. I'll say a quick prayer. Please, dear God, anybody who's not in a relationship and needs courage or to be inspired to find a love relationship, please lovingly guide them and help them develop that strength, that character, and to be led in the right way for the right person that is destined for them, for that golden opportunity for a newborn love. Thank you, dear God. Amen. Okay, I hope that helps someone. I'm going to post these on YouTube, as you know. When Mother Mary talks for me and I relay it, I try and relay it as accurate as I can. Sometimes I'm paraphrasing from her intention, so it's kind of like a married blended experience with Mother Mary and me, and I, and that is that. So bless you all, and good day to you all. Bye for now.